Welcome back to Universal Insight. Please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for more updates. You need to watch this if you struggle with separating fact from fiction in today's news cycle. The internet exploded with panic. National ban on pistol braces upheld. Millions feared they'd become felons overnight, but that headline was a lie. There is no national ban, no sweeping federal order, no new crime for owning a piece of plastic and Velcro. The real story? The court struck down the ATF's pistol brace rule, a stunning defeat for federal overreach. The so-called ban is legally dead. Gun owners won. So why the deception? Misinformation thrives in chaos, and some wanted fear to do what the law could not. The truth: citizens backed by advocacy groups dismantled the ATF's rule in court. The real headline: freedom restored. The threat began in January 2023, when a single decision from a federal agency sent shockwaves through the firearms community across the nation. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, known as the ATF, reversed years of established guidance, upending what many gun owners had come to rely on. With a sweeping announcement, the ATF declared that millions of pistol braces, once considered legal, were now classified as illegal, instantly transforming law-abiding citizens into potential criminals. Overnight, gun owners across the country faced an impossible choice: register their firearms, destroy them, surrender them to authorities, or risk facing felony charges that could ruin their lives and futures. The government set a hard deadline, May 31st, 2023, giving owners just a few months to make a life-altering decision. Compliance wasn't just a matter of paperwork. It meant paying a $200 tax for each firearm, a financial burden for many, especially those with multiple braced pistols. And it meant submitting personal information to a federal registry, raising concerns about privacy and government overreach. Out of an estimated tens of millions of affected firearms, only about 255,000 were actually registered. The vast majority of owners refused to comply, standing firm in their beliefs. For many, this wasn't just about hardware or technicalities, it was about defending a core principle: the right to keep and bear arms, and the limits of government authority. The question loomed large: can a federal agency simply rewrite the law and turn millions of ordinary Americans into criminals overnight? Gun rights organizations and advocacy groups quickly mobilized, filing lawsuits in courts across the country to challenge the ATF's authority and protect gun owners' rights. Their central argument was clear: the ATF was not simply interpreting existing law but creating new law, something only Congress has the constitutional power to do. The power to make or change laws belongs to Congress, not unelected bureaucrats. The legal battle lines were drawn: ordinary citizens and advocacy groups versus the unchecked power of a federal agency. The stage was set for a historic showdown, one that would not only decide the fate of millions of gun owners, but also test the very boundaries of government power in America. The decisive blow in this legal battle came from Texas, a state known for its fierce independence and strong defense of constitutional rights. On June 13, 2024, Judge Reed O'Connor issued a sweeping decision that vacated the ATF's controversial rule nationwide, not just in Texas but across the entire country. In his ruling, Judge O'Connor found that the ATF's process was not only arbitrary and capricious, but also so confusing that ordinary Americans couldn't possibly comply with it. The rule's vague, contradictory standards made it impossible to know what was legal and what wasn't, rendering it unlawful in the eyes of the court. Other federal courts soon echoed this sentiment, agreeing that the ATF had overstepped its authority by effectively creating new law from the executive branch rather than interpreting existing statutes as intended. In July 2025, after months of legal wrangling and mounting pressure, the Department of Justice finally dropped its appeal, making Judge O'Connor's decision permanent and unchallengeable. The rule wasn't just paused or put on hold, it was completely erased from the books. The government, facing defeat, surrendered the fight. The long and hard-fought legal battle was finally over, bringing relief to millions who had been living under a cloud of uncertainty. The pistol brace rule was dead, and with it, the looming threat to millions of law-abiding gun owners across the nation vanished overnight. The courts had spoken clearly. Federal agencies cannot criminalize Americans with the stroke of a pen. This was more than a legal victory, it was a resounding affirmation of the rule of law and the limits of government power. This victory was years in the making, marked by key moments. January 2023, ATF publishes its rule, starting the countdown. Lawsuits flood in. By May, courts issue injunctions protecting gun owners. June 2024, Judge O'Connor vacates the rule for everyone, not just a few. July 2025, the DOJ drops its appeal, ending the fight for good. Each time a court examined the rule, it failed. The Administrative Procedure Act proved a powerful check on bureaucratic overreach. The threat was neutralized, not by delay but by a final binding court order. As of September 10, 2025, the message is clear: you are free. The ATF's pistol brace rule is dead. At the federal level, braced pistols are legal again. No registration, no tax, no fear of felony charges. The legal cloud has lifted. The status quo is restored. Judge O'Connor's order wiped the rule off the books nationwide. The DOJ's surrender made it permanent. No patchwork laws, no confusion. The ATF's attempt to regulate braces under the NFA has failed completely, but vigilance is still needed. Agencies may try again, and the fight for rights never truly ends. For now, your property is legal, and your rights have been defended. This story is about more than a firearm accessory. It's about the very foundation of constitutional order and the enduring promise of liberty in America. It's a reminder that the principles enshrined in our founding documents are not just words on paper, but living ideals that shape our daily lives and protect our freedoms. The ATF tried to bypass Congress and criminalize millions of law-abiding citizens with the stroke of a pen, but the courts, acting as a crucial check on executive power, said no. They reaffirmed that no agency can rewrite the law or sidestep the legislative process. This wasn't a Second Amendment case, but a ruling on how government must operate, on the separation of powers and the limits of regulatory authority. It was about ensuring that the rules are made by the people's representatives, not unelected officials. The refusal to comply was an act of civil disobedience against an unjust rule, and the courts validated that resistance. It showed that when citizens stand up for their rights, the system can work as intended. The claim of a national ban is a lie, an attempt to intimidate and mislead. The truth is, the law was never changed by Congress, and the courts have now made that clear. The rule is overturned, vacated, and permanently defeated. The legal victory is decisive, and the attempt to impose this rule has been struck down at every level. The DOJ has abandoned the fight, recognizing the futility of pursuing a case that undermines the rule of law and the Constitution itself. There is no federal ban. Americans remain free to exercise their rights, and the threat of criminalization has been lifted. Freedom won, not just for gun owners but for all Americans who believe in lawful government, checks and balances, and the power of the people to hold authority accountable. The lesson is clear. Agencies must stay within the law, and citizens united and vigilant can always hold them accountable. This is how liberty endures.